Failure is simply the opportunity to try again, only this time more intelligently. That's a quote by Henry Ford, and I think it speaks wonders to exactly what failure is. Because, as I've said already, if you've tested and tried a skill and it's just not worked, and you've had to come back and try a different model or try a different product or whatever it is that whatever business aspect you're going into, you're still going to be smarter, whatever you go into, than you was when you went into the previous one that you failed at. Even if, let's go to one extreme to do a bit, even if you wanted to do copywriting and you couldn't get it to work, but then you went into video editing and you managed to get it to work, you had more success in video editing, you would have still learned so many lessons just through copywriting. You would have learned things about titles, you would have learned things about how to sell people within comments, how to speak to people, how to write emails that you could then push the videos to. You've still learned some valuable lessons from a skill that's not very much related. So every single failure that you go through, that you, again, as I say, as you class in your head as a failure, I'd try and implement saying it's a temporary failure. Every single bit of it, there's a lesson to be learned. There's just some way you can pick out a snippet of how it's worked or how it's not worked or how it's benefited you, what you could do better next time, what you're going to do better next time. And I know that was a big thing I had to take after I'd done the apparel design, because there were certain skills that I had learned that weren't massively applicable within the affiliate marketing side. But then when it comes to creating a logo for my brand, and then when it comes to creating a logo and creating certain say templates for clients or creating templates for myself, it's not that I had an eye for design, but I knew what I liked, and I knew that what I liked would in some way resonate with somebody else. There's no way I like something and nobody else likes something. So there was a skill to learn, even though I never made any money. There was still a skill. There was still something that I could take from that situation. And there was still a way for it to benefit me later down the line when I came into this business. So in everything that you do, rather than beating yourself up and saying to yourself that, I can't believe I didn't do it, I can't believe I didn't achieve this, I'm so annoyed at myself. You're going to do that, every person will. Try and minimise it. Try and minimise it for 5-10 seconds and then think, what have I learned now? What have I learned? What did I learn here? Because that's the best mindset you can develop, because then everything is just every single aspect of your life you're improving. Because your successes, you're learning what works and you double down. And your unsuccesses or your quote failures, you're still learning, you're still getting better, and it's still going to have an impact on you later on down the line again. So, as you can see, developing that sort of mindset over an extended period of time, you're going to learn in insane amounts. Whereas other people, say we've got two now, and we've got somebody who learns from every single setback and tries to take a lesson from every single setback, and then as well doubles down on their wins. And then you've got somebody who every single setback holds them off for a week because they're in woe is me mode. They can't believe it didn't work. They're in the universe is against them. We've all been there. I've done this. I've been this other person myself, and that's why I touch on it so much. You imagine the trajectory that both of these two are on. So they're winning. Okay, they lose. He's learnt more because he's lost. He's now stagnant. He's not moving because he has to, and I hate to say this, but he has to wallow in a bit of self-pity because it's work for other people, it's the business model, it's this, it's that, it's every other external factor. What I also want to add on to this is he's not learning. He's not benefiting from his failures at all. They're constantly bringing him down. They're constantly damaging his momentum. So if he does something for 2 weeks and starts building a bit speed up, a bit of, oh, okay, this works, and something hits him, that's it. Momentum gone. You're not starting from day 8 then, or you're not starting from day 10, you're starting from day 0, you've stopped, you've quit, you've give up. There's no learning going on. Whereas even the person who, even if, let's say, the one that learns from his failures, as well as doubles down on his wins, let's say he fails twice as much. He's then learning twice as much. He's then also, when he wins, has got more, there's more power. When you failed so much and you win, it's hard to explain, but I always say to people around me is, I am committed now through losing. When I post videos and I don't get views, when I reach out to clients and I get blanked, when I try and keep a client and they're not happy with the work, when, I mean, there's loads of other ways that you can fail, but every single time that happens, I know I'm learning. Every single time. If I don't get views, the video weren't good. Why weren't the video good? Okay, let's go and look at the analytics. Let's see where the drop-off point was and let's try and improve. If I get blanked by a client, or a prospect, should I say, okay, well, I'm going to keep reaching out. I'm going to keep reaching out. Okay, now they've not looked whatsoever. Was it my prospecting? Have I picked out the wrong person? Is my DM just not engaging enough? Are they just overly busy? Are they like way too high for me to even target? If I would message Joe Rogan today, I wouldn't expect a reply because I'm here and he's up there in terms of the social media world. And then if something happens with a client, I'm never looking at the client under any circumstance. I'm never looking at the client and thinking it was their fault. They were this or they were that. I'm never going to do that. Even if they're the worst client in the world, I'm still looking at me, because there's absolutely no benefit to me looking at them. There's nothing. Even if they are the worst client, even if they're never happy, even if I could get them 2 million views and they'll moan that they didn't get 3, I am still going to be more benefited saying it was my fault and I need to improve than I am passing the buck on to them. And the whole reason I got into this is because even with these losses, I will stay overly happy that I just get to do this. Overly happy that I found something that I want to power through and progress with. I love what I'm doing during the losing times. So when you drop a win onto me, when I landed my first client, when I hit my first pay, when I got my first high view video, it was, if you won from the beginning, that's nothing to you. To me, that was everything. That was like the small little nugget of gold that I needed to be like, okay, works, go again. Okay, works, go again, double down. This method worked. Let's test this method that I close this client with 10 more times, 20 more times, 50 more times. It's an insane power when you're constantly learning like that. And that's why the best way you can approach anything is there's either a win to have or a lesson to be learned. If you can keep those two factors in your head every single time, you can't lose in any situation.